here, an old friend of Mom's and the family's. Actually, somebody lived near Mary Beth and was at a lot of her parties over the years and just loved Mom and of course her family. And I said, I'm sorry I can't be here to celebrate your mom's life. All the parties, all the fun. The most fun I've ever had without being arrested. Marion Barry. An old family friend. Was in Lorton for a number of years. She used to get out just to come over there. But it's nice to see the mayor still gets a laugh. You know, Mom was British. And the one wonderful thing about being British is everybody loves the British. The whole world loves the British. Being British is to be loved by everyone. Well, maybe not the French. You know, and maybe not the Germans so much, but everybody loves the, well, the Spanish weren't too. You know, they had that little Armada thing. And the Dutch, no, it didn't go over well. And the Belgians, you know, they speak French, and you know what that does to you. The Italians, and you know the Irish, of course the Irish. Sri Lanka, you know, they were in Nepal. But everybody else loves the British, particularly the people in Hong Kong. Not so much China or Japan, but to be British is to be loved by most. Well, to be British is to be loved by
your family.
Well, some Texans, but certainly the Falkland Islands. And I guess. Well, India had that independence thing going on, you know. So you know, and I guess Argentina, they had that little problem in the 80s, but certainly the Falkland Islanders and the Poles. They went to war for the Poles, and the Poles were in the RAF. So there you go. To be British is to be loved by Falkland Islands and the Poles. But in all fairness, the British, particularly my mom, she didn't like all those other places anyway. So she got what she wanted, and woo, leave. So to be British is to be loved by the Falkland Islanders. But anyway, this is a happy day. This is not a sad day. My mother didn't want anybody. She didn't want anybody to come and grieve her death and to be sad. She was not a sad person. As a matter of fact, you may not know this about my mother, but she helped write 2 songs. She helped write Bobby McFerrin's "Don't Worry, Be Happy," and she also helped write Eric Idle's song. What was that song?
Spamalot?
Yeah, Spamalot song. Can't remember it at the moment. We'll get to that.
Yeah, right.
But anyway, she had 3 basic rules for her death and her ceremony. There were 3 things that she wanted us to stick to, and she didn't want to die in a hospital. She didn't want to have any tubes. And the second thing was that she didn't want a religious ceremony. She really, you know, didn't want to have a minister say nice things about her and read from the Bible and everything. She wanted to be as far away from a religious ceremony as you can get, and that's why we thought, hey, Robin's now.
I'm right here.
We certainly did.
Salute!
That's your great nephew. Your great nephew thought that was a stick. Anyway, there were 4 things actually. that she wanted. She wanted a Union Jack to be hung at half-mast at the family flagpole for a week. She wanted that, and it's been there since Monday, or since Monday, right?
Monday.
We put it up at half-mast, so it'll be there through next Monday. And she wanted to be buried or cremated in a pine box. And this is family lore that goes back forever. She would always say, "Don't make a fuss. Just put me in a pine box and put me under." So we made the pine box. Hudson and I made it on Sunday and Monday of this week. And
It really was unbelievably short. It really was.
But of the other two out of the 6 things that she wanted, she wanted Jody to do the catering. She wanted Jody to do the catering. But consider the alternative, she's got Mary Beth or Costco, Robin, and I want to go there, Margaret. So it would have been all Mexican. So, and out of those 6, maybe 7 things that she wanted, she had a little dilemma. She couldn't decide if she wanted those macaroons or a trifle. But I think in the end she decided on the trifle.
Yay, Jody!
It's all here. So my mom was. I don't know if you've read the little memorial piece that we have on her, but there's a great quote. I was going through my emails. I was throwing out all the emails going back from my sisters and my nieces and other family members, and just keeping my mom's emails. And I came across this one written on March 15th, 2005. This is a real email that I got. I noticed that my sister Robin was copied, and Philip Harries, who's my mother's cousin in England. She only ever met him once. He was a 7-year-old kid or an 8-year-old kid when my mother just got married and was leaving for the States. And they only met once, but they became great friends through letters and email. And so she wrote this email. It's the subject is Eric Idle. It was one of the members of Monty Python, for those who don't know. I think it's high time that Python was recognized as a religion. People say it changed their lives. It seems to give people hope. They gather in groups to chant mass quotes. We have all spent 3 days on a cross. And that's peculiar right there. I'm not sure what 3 days my mom spent on a cross.
Might have gone to Roanoke to see me or something.
I was thinking about this. It must have been when she was living with her stepfather in England. But anyway, she goes on to say, if Scientology can be rated a religion, then Pythonology ought to qualify under any decent tax system. And of course, that tells you a bit about my mom. She thinks a religion is a tax deduction. But anyway, so that tells you a lot. Now, one of the things that was in my mother's background is her grandfather's burial. And her beloved grandfather is the wealthiest man in Barrie. He owned the bus system, and he was a great guy. I was often told that I look a lot like John Mark. And when John Mark died, in England, you laid the body out for 4 days. And they had apparently an upstairs living room. And they had a narrow row house, perhaps, and a narrow stairway leading upstairs. At the end of 4 days, his 4 sons went to get the pine box casket. They put it on their shoulders and tried to get down the narrow stairway. And the stairway was very narrow that they couldn't quite make it down. Anyway, somehow the casket fell and goes